Hi guys, again, this is Lordy, ang tito mong psychologist. So, welcome to my channel. This will serve as one of my first recorded videos intended solely to be uploaded in my YouTube channel. Okay, so let me introduce myself first. I am Lordy Santos. I am a licensed and practicing psychometrician and psychologist here in the Philippines. I also do teach in one of the universities within Metro Manila. Actually, it's the class that I've been handling that pushed me to make this kind of videos, okay? So that I can have it uploaded on my YouTube channel and at the same time guide my students on how they can fare better or do better in my class. Let's dig into our topic for today. So basically, what I'm about to discuss are some of the guidelines one should observe whenever they are studying about abnormal psychology. I find it helpful for myself and for my previous students in terms of understanding the distinct features of a specific set of mental health related problems and how they are different from other mental health related problems. Because when we talk about, for example, the DSM-5-TR or the ICD-10 and 11, each of the mental health related problems are divided into different clusters or groups of disorders. Okay? In my class, I usually divide them into a set of groups, usually by 3 or by 4, where they are expected to present what they know about those mental health disorders. Of course, I would give them enough time. I hope I was able to give them enough time to study these mental health related problems. So the aim of this video is to again give them a guideline on how they can present each of the topics that they want to present in class. Not actually they want, but are assigned to them, to present in our class. And I hope this could also serve as a guideline for other psychology students who are about to present their reports or maybe their case presentations in the class of abnormal psychology. Alright? Sige. So let's talk about some of the do's and don'ts first when we are reporting about these things. Of course, it is expected for us to use an application that could help us during the presentation. So one of the most common application that we can use, of course, is the PowerPoint presentation, but it should not just be limited to that option. Of course, we can also use Canva, Menti, Prezi, or maybe other application that I am not aware about, as long as this could aid you in delivering your reports better, especially by using graphic with less text. Of course, you are also expected to deliver your report without reading a long written material, especially if it's just projected on the LCD screen or the projector that you are using. You are expected to report it with a display of mastery and understanding. It's as if you really understand the topic that are assigned to you. So for the listeners or those students who are there inside the classroom, I hope you could also be guided with the proper decorum when someone is reporting in front of the class. Okay? All right, now let's talk about the guideline that I am about to share. Again, as I've said, that I find helpful for myself and my students in terms of understanding these mental health related problems or the diagnosable mental health conditions that are located on our 5th edition text revised diagnostic statistical manual. Okay? Each of the group has their own assigned topic based on the cluster that are assigned to them. And so like for example, neurodevelopmental disorders, personality disorders, bipolar and related disorders, depressive disorders, etc. Those are the clusters. It means that these are usually groups of diagnosable mental health condition that are closely related to each other. Okay? Now, there's a reason why they are grouped together. Now, that's the first thing that I want you to dig into. All right? I want you to understand the distinctive features of these clusters or group of diagnosable mental health conditions. What makes them closer to each other and what makes them separate from other mental health related problems. So I want you to focus on those things first, okay? And then you can use the biopsychosocial model to guide you in discussing the other details that must be understood in relation to these diagnosable mental health condition, which should further be guided by the 5Ps. Okay? So let's dig into the biopsychosocial approach first. Better if you could know about the biological mechanisms that works under that cluster of mental health disorder. Okay? Ano ba yung mga biological features or factors that makes someone more vulnerable, that makes someone experience the said presentation or criteria of a specific mental health disorder. Okay? So, or the specific cluster. Next, aside from the biological factors, I wanted to discuss about the psychological factors. What are the emotional conditions, intellectual processes, or maybe cognitive processes and behaviors that makes someone more vulnerable or make someone experience the said criteria. Okay? Aside from the biological and the psychological factors, I would also want you to dig into the social factors that makes someone more vulnerable in experiencing, developing, and perpetuating the different diagnosable mental health conditions or criteria and features that falls under those clusters of disorders. Okay? So that would just serve as a short guideline on how we can use the biopsychosocial approach. Okay? So that does not intend for you guys to dig into the different biological, psychological, and social factors for each of the specific mental health conditions that falls under the cluster that are assigned. But if you could provide, that would be better. Okay? Because I'll be also looking for references where you got those information, and I hope those references are also provided in the material that you are about to present in class. Okay? So hopefully this will be composed of recent articles or research papers that are published that are also easily accessible to your classmates or to your professors. Okay? Now, aside from the biopsychosocial approach, better if we could also talk about the 5Ps. Okay, let's start with the 4Ps that are necessary before we dig into the different criteria. The first P are the predisposing factors. When we talk about the predisposing factors, these are the reasons why someone has a more or has an elevated tendency to experience a specific set of diagnosable mental health condition. Again, use the biopsychosocial approach. Those are the predisposing factors, right? The vulnerabilities. Next, let's talk about the precipitating factors. These are a set of experiences, whether biological, psychological, or social, that tend to initiate or trigger the development or experience of that specific diagnosable mental health condition or clusters of mental health condition. Okay? Precipitating factors, activating factors. Next are the perpetuating factors. When we talk about the perpetuating factors, these are a set of biological mechanisms, psychological mechanisms, or social mechanisms that tends to prolong the experience of that diagnosable mental health clusters. Okay? So it prevents the resolution or the remission of that diagnosable mental health condition. But aside from those 3Ps, I would also want you to dig into the protective factors. What protects an individual, both biological, psychological, and social, in developing a full-blown diagnosis of those specific clusters that are assigned. Now, if those 4Ps would focus on each of the clusters that are assigned, when we talk about the presenting, the 5th P, the presenting factors or the presenting features, this is the time when we need to dig into the specific diagnosable mental health conditions. Okay? This is where you are expected to present the required criterias, the different features, and associated features for each of the diagnosable mental health condition. Let me repeat and let me specify that for the first 4 Ps, You are just expected to present the predispositions, precipitating and perpetuating and protective factors based on each cluster. But for the presenting factors or features, you have to make it specific for each diagnosable mental health condition. Most of the information are already located on the DSM-5 TR. Okay, you'll just have, of course, to make sure that you were able to read all of those specific criteria, primary features, and the associated features that are located to it. But it should not end there. I would also want to hear about the common comorbid conditions that might affect or confound that diagnosable mental health condition. Aside from that, it would also be ideal for you to discuss about the differential diagnosis, which is, I think, one of the most ignored information in terms of understanding how someone can receive a diagnosis of a specific mental health condition. So yung differential diagnosis kasi, importante yun on how we can differentiate closely related disorders and even other disorders that might have the same presentations. I hope this short discussion also gave you a background or an idea how to better understand these diagnosable mental health disorders or conditions.